Just sent out like 4 proposals today from last week. It's good. I don't know. Success is a trap. It's yeah.
Sure is.
Margins is moving.
Cool.
You need some social accountability.
Possibly, yeah. So like one of the things I've created these systems for myself where, I have social accountability to show up and go to the gym. I pay for like a virtual personal trainer through Trainwell. And so I go to the gym really consistently now. Google's saying search is going to change even more. SEO's massive. It's still massive. And like the numbers that I'm seeing from Rand Fishkin's latest research suggest that it hasn't stopped growing yet, actually. But like, is it the wave that we really want to be on or not? There's still a little voice in the back of my head that's like, this might be a bad choice of wave.
What's up?
Not much. Just digging through job applications for this senior product designer role.
Yeah.
It
How's that going? Do you like it?
really makes me want to build an ATS. I looked at Home Run again.
Yeah.
And it's gone up to like their base price starts at I think $90 a month or something like that. And JJ has essentially built an Excel Google Sheets ATS, which is solid. It's not bad at all. I think the email automation stuff she's been trying to do isn't working yet. And then I have spent a chunk of today trying to figure out how to run a script inside of Google Sheets that'll integrate with an AI detection API, because so many of these applications are so clearly just copy and pasted from ChatGPT and not actual applications.
I see.
Yeah.
You use GPT for Sheets, and then
do you think how good is ChatGPT at detecting itself?
I think if you give it a rubric, it's good.
I don't know if I know enough to give it a good rubric.
I can give you my it's not a rubric. It's just like, hey, generate this blog post. Don't use these words. Don't use this phrasing. Don't.
Yeah, and you could try to kind of reverse that rubric.
Yeah. God, that's funny.
Yeah. And like there's like a small part of me that is like, well, I don't have a problem with you using ChatGPT to help you write your application, but if you're clearly just like, if it's 100% copy and pasted from ChatGPT, then I have no way of knowing if it's legit information or not, or if you're just completely bullshitting. Like, I got several answers to the same question that seemed almost identical. And I was like, okay, so this isn't a real life experience you had then, probably.
Yeah. I bet, that's so funny. I bet there's like apps now also like apply with AI.
Oh,
like
I'm sure there are.
Yeah. And then it just generates that stuff. How would you build an ATS differently? Build a sauce.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think part of it is like, I think it's an area where I would try to compete on price, because ATS systems tend to be pretty fucking expensive. And so I think if you tried to be a fairly minimal, simple version that was at more of an entry level price, I think that's like step one. Now, the shitty part is to build even a simple ATS, you're basically building a CRM, an email marketing system, and a form builder all in one, and like kind of a website builder too. So it's not a simple product. So I totally understand why they're expensive, but I still think most of that is sunk cost, not like ongoing cost. I don't think they're that expensive to operate. Just
definitely not.
There's a high barrier to entry to build, the base features you need. So I think I do some of that. I think I would also, I think it could be really interesting. Like, I've always been interested in salary transparency and stuff like that. So I think it could be interesting to try to do some try to talk people into doing some data sharing around salaries and stuff like that. On both sides of the equation. I think it would be cool to build in, some. I remember when we, I know, when we were trying to care about diversity, equity, and inclusion and like learn about it, um, part of what people said you should do is like conduct anonymous surveys to determine, try to determine if there's what bias there is in your application process. And like,
Mhm.
some people say you should hide names from applications and stuff like that. Um, and I, yeah, that kind of stuff.
You could do a less annoying ATS.
Yeah, like I think,
.com.
and that kind of stuff was often hidden behind like really high enterprise prices. And
Mm.
so just making that stuff more widely available, offering good rubrics, like
Mm.
good default rubrics for like, here are good application questions. Like, here's some templates you can choose from, and here's a good rubric to like help you reduce bias in your process, and
Yeah.
doing some different stuff like that. And then just trying to make it balance that with also making it reasonably quick to eliminate people who clearly aren't a good fit, and
Mhm.
then like narrow your list down, because those are the two kind of competing priorities for good hiring managers. Is like, on the one hand, you have a massive stack of applications to get through normally, and on the other hand, you want to be respectful of people, and like, you
Mhm.
know you want to get through those in a reasonable amount of time while also giving people their due. And
Mhm.
so trying to walk that balance with
Yeah,
thoughtful
maybe
tools.
like hard filters and soft filters as you're going through applicants. It'd be cool. Like I mean, if it's cheaper, it's better for SMB, and then the templates make a lot of sense because, I mean, hiring is hard
Hmm.
your first 100 times, I'm pretty sure, um, especially because there's different roles and roles that you haven't been in, and you know, I wonder, like on a UX level, you could maybe even just like do it in reverse, like, hey, like what is the type of person you want to hire, and that also helps you come up with like behavioral questions or whatever. um, Maybe it plugs into your call recording so it pre-fills a questionnaire, like it's, you know, you can do the initial sort of job application, but then it can can be with you through the life. I mean, it is right with the CRM.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. That's an
yeah,
interesting idea.
cool. You want to
You,
build an ATS?
huh?
You want to build an ATS?
I have always wanted to build an ATS,
I mean,
and also not, because it's a lot of
huh.
fucking work.
I mean, the cool thing is that you know, the things that you said: CRM, email marketing. What else did you say? Like easy
Form
web
builder.
builder, form builder. Like those are all, they've been built so many times that I'm pretty sure AI understands intrinsically. No, you don't think so?
I still like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in the camp of like, I use AI all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
obviously believe it's a valuable tool. I'm building a fucking AI tool. Um, and I use it whenever I write code.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it can generate some things really fast. But as far as getting actual functional, usable SaaS applications beyond a proof of concept, no, it is not there. It is not capable of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, yes, it could build a proof of concept of a CRM. It can't build a functional CRM
I
that
can't
is
build
like,
it. I can't even think of. I don't think it even builds a functional SaaS with all the different things that SaaS actually needs.
yeah.
You know, outside of just auth, like all the transactional emails, all the
Oh
like
God, yeah.
like multi-tenant like organization stuff. Like been trying to do with Lovable, it just like struggles. It needs you to like walk it through every
Yeah.
single thing and give it the database schema and all that stuff. So
Yeah, if you're going like page by page, function by function, it is useful for helping you move
hmm
through stuff quickly.
hmm
But it's not going to just build a CRM for you right
hmm
off the bat.
yeah, damn.
Yeah.
Well,
So I still think, maybe it's faster. Maybe with a good engineer, it would be faster to build an ATS today than it would have been. Maybe
hmm
it goes from, you know, 6 months, a year to get to feature parity,
hmm
basic feature parity, to like 3 to 6 months, but I don't think it goes to like 3 weeks.
yeah, yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Maybe, I don't know. Rails, if a good
hmm
Rails dev can probably crank out a lot of this kind of stuff, or Laravel, whatever.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
a
I
little
don't
bit
know.
faster.
What do you have you seen all these like MVP agencies that have popped up since the dawn of like Lovable, Bolt, and all that stuff? Like they'll just build you. Yeah. Um, we talked to a couple in the past. They
Mhm.
all seem. I mean, as someone with not a lot of money, it seems very enticing. You know, get an MVP in 3 weeks for 4K or even like 10K in like a month. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Brian was doing this with his 1 month app, Brian
Right.
Castle,
Right.
and he kind of found the thing that we all find, which is like, even with AI in 1 month, he
Hmm.
could get you to something that demonstrated your idea and was technically a functional application.
Hmm.
But in most cases, it was going to take more than a month to get to something that actually provided enough value for users to sign up for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the 1 month was kind of a starting point, not an ending point.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know,
But then you spend, but like as
you
an
ran into
agency.
this with margins, right? Like margins, it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
he got a first version of margins built in like 3 or 4 weeks, but it
Mhm.
wasn't production ready. It was like proof of concept.
For sure, for sure. Well, yeah, for what it's worth, we did the SOW was for the proof of concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%. There's like expecting it still to be like 3 months, a lot more money. Ran into it with the internal app we're building, like the version control for Webflow
Hmm.
thing. Yeah. Um, it works for like a project, and then it starts to really, and then also Lovable, like the context window is just so big that like Lovable just starts struggling and getting really lazy.
Mm.
And then yeah, I'm like, into season 4 of Sopranos at this point by watching it while vibe coding. It's just um yeah. Yeah, one day. Or, we just hire a couple of devs and build an ATS and call it less annoying ATS.
We could do that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I don't want to do that. I don't.
I do genuinely think I would like building an ATS. It would be a cool product to build.
I just don't want
But
to. I can't. I just don't want to market an ATS.
really,
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't care about it enough.
I've always cared about hiring.
Mm, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, I care about hiring people into. I guess not the process of it. I don't. It doesn't excite me super well. But I think
Yeah,
it.
I've always found the process pretty interesting.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe I
Cool.
should build an ATS.
Maybe you should. I mean,
I got to get this MetaMonster thing
a
working, hopefully, first.
people monster. Yeah, that sounds
People
terrible.
Monster is
Don't call it
funny.
people monster. That
It's kind
sounds.
of, it's horrible and great at the same time.
Mhm. I mean, Monster was a hiring platform, I think, like an Indeed
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Monster.com.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of the OGs. Um, so
How's
I've got an
MetaMonster?
update
Yeah.
on the cold email stuff.
Okay. How's it going?
I we let's see. Okay, how do I put this? It's going. I'm getting responses. I'm now only sending the cold email that won
Mhm.
the looking for feedback AI powered screaming frog. I'm only sending that. I have experimented with sending follow ups, and they don't seem to do anything. If I get responses, it's on the first email and not any of the follow ups. So I've just killed all the follow ups. So I'm only sending one email. I'm like, which I feel like goes counter to all the cold email guru advice. Um, and I'm getting responses, and most of the responses are going nowhere. Like people are like, "Oh, sounds interesting. I want to try it out." And then I tell them that there's a credit card required,
Mhm.
and they either disappear or they get mad at me or they are like, not that interested."
Mhm.
And so part of me was thinking about building, you know, switching up our free trial to not require a credit card, maybe switching to like a credit system where you get 100 credits or something for free, and then you have to, uh, you know, upgrade to get more credits. Um, but I think I'm gonna first try to just experiment with my messaging a little bit because I can see how my messaging would be slightly misleading. Um, so try to make it clear that like when I say I'm asking for feedback, I'm talking about asking for feedback on a paid product. And like it won't cost you anything to try it, but it is a paid product. It's not just something I'm giving away totally for free forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I want to try to make that a little bit more clear first, and see if that helps manage expectations better, even if it means fewer responses, if the responses are, you
Mm-hmm.
know, are more interested. But I've also been thinking a lot about positioning, and I think we might be positioning the product wrong by trying to call it AI powered Screaming Frog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you alluded to that last time we spoke about it, because it is more and more than that.
Well, it's like two things. One, right now it's less than that. Right now it's just a metadata generator.
Yes.
Um, so right now
Agreed.
it's less than that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the value is not like Screaming Frog is purely a site audit tool. Like it
Mm-hmm.
is, that is what it's made for. And yes, you can kind of hack it with AI integrations and stuff to do some generation, but it's really not built for that. It's built to be a technical auditing tool. And the more I've been looking around at the market, the more I realize that like audit tools are just kind of cheap. Like for the most part, the
Mm-hmm.
audit, there's a subset set of like enterprise level audit tools that can handle millions of pages,
Yeah.
and those are super expensive. But like we don't we wouldn't really work for those people, and I wouldn't really know how to sell to the enterprise. Um, it's not something I really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at the like SMB, like Ahrefs now gives away their site audit tool for free.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, Sitebulb's desktop version is really cheap, and even their paid version comes with like millions of URLs, and so feels fairly inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
Screaming Frog is cheap or free. And so I'm worried that like by positioning ourselves against Screaming Frog, we're kind of positioning ourselves like against like these cheap tools that people don't really want to pay a bunch of money for. And there's also this thing where like I'm not actually sure the value, like right now the value is not the audit, the value is the generation. Um and then in the future the value is going to be kind of the ability to audit things in a do like different types of analysis. The value is going to be in the flexibility, the ability to like customize it to your process, the ability to analyze things that are hard to analyze with today's tools,
Mm-hmm.
and then to do generation, to do um and like I don't want to be a like an SEO writer. I don't want to be a content generator,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm trying to figure out like what category we really fit against. And like the products that I think are more interesting and compelling are like your ClearScope, your Surfer SEO, um, which are both more focused on like on page SEO and like content auditing more than site auditing.
Mm-hmm.
And then your like your AirOps, which is all about like scaling content. And it seems like the pattern that I'm seeing is like, you know, a focus on content more than like sites or technical audits or things like that. It seems like that's where more of the focus is. Um, and so I'm trying to figure out, I don't know what to do with that yet, but it's just like this positioning challenge is bubbling around in my head right now a lot.
I think the hunch makes sense, because so I've never felt weird about it being called AI Screaming Frog Alternative, because I think it's just like emotionally like, oh, seems cool, would click.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have always felt weird when you've called it like a site audit tool, especially as we've kind of gone more and more into like talking about this like clay for websites.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it makes sense because like fundamentally it's like automate your workflow so that you would normally do for that you would use a human for your website. I
And
feel
that
like the
might be an
hard,
audit
Mhm.
workflow. Like
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we can automate an audit workflow
Hmm.
in a more interesting way than Screaming Frog can
Hmm.
with
Yeah,
the new tooling we're building.
I think the hard part that it runs into is just like the jobs in a org, right? You have a content marketer, a content marketer understands the value of SEO, so then maybe uses a surfer or even Ahrefs to like do SEO keyword research, and then they, you know, use something like AirOps to like generate a bunch of content at scale. That's one way. And then there's like digital marketing managers that care. Like maybe there's some cool things. When you've built the full sort of like workflow platform, maybe there's a way to like tie user journeys into this, like with your site. Um, yeah, like maybe there's like other. I wonder what other types of audits there are, right? Like conversion, user journey, um, site and SEO or site and content. Um, yeah, I don't know.
I don't
Like,
either. I'm not sure. I've just been increasingly getting the feeling that like part of our challenge
mhm,
is positioning. Like it's easy to point at, oh, the free trial, we don't have enough of a free trial, and we don't have our price point is too high. Like we need a
mhm,
lower cost entry point. We need like a free, some sort of free, you know,
mhm,
free, no credit card required trial. Like, and I see the logic for that. We're new to market. We don't have any trust, any brand loyalty built up. So like maybe that's just where we need to start in order to build trust. But then I look at the tools that we want to most be like the ClearScope, the Surfer, the AirOps. AirOps has a free tier, admittedly, but Surfer and ClearScope don't even not have free tiers. They don't have free trials. You
mhm.
pay day one,
Yeah,
and ClearScope doesn't even have a money back guarantee. They're
yeah,
like, you can cancel anytime, but you're
yeah, but
paying for it.
it's clear scope. It's kind of like it's what are you gonna do? Not use clear scope? Just
I
like
didn't know that many people use ClearScope. I didn't know ClearScope had that strong a brand reputation.
I
I
see.
don't feel like people outside of like hardcore marketing circles ever hear of ClearScope. Like Ahrefs, yeah,
Mhm.
ClearScope.
I think it's that era of like when WordPress was big and like WordPress SEO agencies, and I feel like that's where I kind of heard it from the most, where
Hmm.
they were getting offshore writers to write things, told them to use ClearScope or would copy paste into ClearScope, make edits, publish to WordPress, and I feel like that's when I've heard it. Um, so I guess it is for like those hardcore guys. Yeah, huh? I mean, I think the awareness of the problem is there. Just gotta go fix it. I think you're right about the problem though.
You
Um,
you think I'm right in that positioning ourselves against Screaming Frog is not the right strategy?
yes, I think positioning. Well, I think no. I think positioning yourselves against a site audit tool is not the right strategy.
Okay.
I think overall website positioning against Screaming Frog is probably because of that also not the right strategy. I think if I were going to run an ad campaign post you building all this stuff, I would still just run an ad that said AI powered, like AI Screaming Frog, purely because it's like clickable.
Hmm.
But I think another reason to why you're right about it being positioned against site audits, like if you go on AppSumo, right? There's a bunch of them and they're super cheap.
Hmm.
And they come in every different flavor and color and who knows how good they are, but um, yeah. I mean, the value, I guess, isn't the audit. The value is the edit afterwards. The audit is just the thing that lets you edit it better.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, going back to like sort of the conversation about pricing, right? You're not pricing by number of sites crawled. You're pricing by number of generations, for example, because that's where the value is. So
Although we're pricing off of pages crawled right now, which is maybe wrong.
yeah, how's the overall team motivation around the project?
I think we're still feeling pretty good.
Okay,
Austin's definitely excited about the new stuff.
cool.
We've been learning a lot. He rolled out just a really simple, kind of brittle chat interface that has a really basic agent behind it. So you can, this isn't available to everyone, but for folks who have access behind the feature flag, which is you and me, um, you
Hell yeah.
can you can go to a site, index that site, which will vectorize it and store the vector embeddings in a vector database. Um, and then you can start interacting with this simple agent that'll try its best to use a handful of tools that we've established, a couple of vector search tools, and then a couple of other basic like counting tools and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and use these tools to answer different queries, to execute prompts on against your website. And so we've been experimenting with that, and it's not working that well yet, but it's really interesting.
Mhm.
It We're learning a lot about like how to get the most out of an agentic system, and how you know vector search works and what it's good for and what it's not. And um, we also caught some problems with our crawler, um,
I see.
that we hadn't noticed before. Be like just content missing, that we didn't notice until we started trying to like figure out why the AI wasn't giving us the output we were expecting. So that was interesting, but yeah. So I think we're still feeling relatively optimistic. I mean, it's hard. Like today, everyone's talking about Google I/O and talking about how like Google's saying search is going to change even more. Um, at the same time, 2 days ago, I saw some really compelling numbers that are like, we're pretty far off from like
Mhm.
search being dead. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to balance that roller coaster as well, of just like, because there is another question and like lingering in the back of my mind a little bit of just like, is SEO like, Justin Jackson likes to talk about riding a wave and how it's just so much easier when you're riding a growing wave instead of a
Sure.
shrinking wave.
Sure.
Um, and like SEO is massive. It's still massive. And like the numbers that I'm seeing from Rand Fishkin's latest research suggest that it hasn't stopped growing yet,
Mhm.
actually. But like, is it the wave that we really want to be on or not?
Mm.
There's still a little voice in the back of my head that's like, this might be a bad choice of wave. But in general, I'm
Uh,
not.
yeah, but like um the other story is true, right? Of like how many times um do we also hear about like success stories, like SaaS success stories where they like didn't necessarily ride the wave. The market was just was big enough for them to just keep
And this
going,
is a
and they just
big
stuck
ass
to it.
market,
Yeah.
and it's probably going to take a long time for this market to die entirely. So,
I, yeah, I mean, I think well, I think uh, like two thoughts. One, uh there's different types. There's B2B SEO, there's B2C, and then there's like local rank
mhm.
stuff, right? And they all like local ranking, like Google My Business SEO is not dead. It's very much alive, and people are, if anything, like I hear more and more people talking about it and like launching apps around all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny. A friend just sent me an app that he's like, I think this is kind of like MetaMonster for Google My Business, and like the guy, all of his
mhm.
marketing is just like low fidelity Loom videos, like you've been talking about. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can, I think outside of it, just like future product vision, I think there's a lot there too, right? I think, uh, uh yeah, and also I don't know, like SEO has always been an evolving game with like, you know, there's just always a new meta, and
Mhm.
this is just a new meta will be birthed out of it. People will just, I think people will just cycle back to
And the nice
like,
thing is like the tool we're
mhm,
building is all about flexibility. It's all
mhm.
about, you know, it can really do whatever you shape it to do.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah,
yeah, that hopefully positions us if we need to pivot quickly into
yeah,
something a little bit different. Like, okay, the tooling's already there.
mhm,
Tooling doesn't need to change massively. It's just,
mhm.
how we talk about it, how we present it, the
Yeah. I
templates we
mean,
choose.
you're building like a utility belt of that all interconnect, right? Like I think, I was just thinking about when I said like you don't just audit, you edit, like, but also I was thinking about how like our use case right now with MetaMonster is that I I use it to scrape sites, and I use it to like yeah. Uh, I think that the I think whatever you guys are building is right. I think we just have to figure out what to call it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. On the one on the note about SEO, like maybe like SEO for the past 8 years will be different, but the game is just about indexability, and that'll never die because
Yeah, I'm not
the
super
internet
worried.
exists. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know,
Mhm.
we pivot into offering an LLMs.text,
Yeah.
generation capability so that you know,
That's pretty sweet. You should just do that. You should just that's like hot right now.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you don't have to. I think you can just ride mini waves to build more growth towards.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah, and in general, I feel that way. It's just hard every now and then when you know, I'm maybe
Mhm.
I'm too gullible, but I see Mike King talking about all the crazy shit coming out of Google I/O, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is gonna be
Mhm.
what do we do here? And, but yeah, that's just kind of SEO in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's really not that different from how it's
Listen, if it
always
doesn't
been.
work, you can always build another ATS.
Yeah,
That's not even a wave. That's like
it's just good
still
old
water.
boring software.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Um, cool. Cool. I haven't tried out the demo yet. I will at some point. Sorry.
that's probably good. It's getting better as as we're
Nice.
using it. So, um, I Austin's been pushing some small updates to try to like optimize the tooling, and so I need to go play with the latest version.
Nice.
Um, but it's been fun to play with. You can there's a little toggle for logs, and so if you toggle on the logs, you can actually see the like logic going on behind the scenes and like
That's cool.
which tools it's calling and the responses it's getting from those,
That's
and
cool.
the queries it's passing to them. And so I think I'm gonna record some videos,
Mhm.
this week or next week, running just some interesting queries and like talking about what we're learning behind the scenes.
Sick. Cool. Okay. Well, I'll try it. I'll try it eventually. I'll try it after this slog of a week.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me what's going on in your world.
Um, so, uh, you know how I always complain how clients don't start their conference planning and their timelines until like 6 weeks before the conference.
Yeah,
Be careful what you wish for because all of them have started thinking about Black Hat already.
and Black
Which means,
Hat's like 3 months away. You said.
yeah. And since there's 3 months, it's like way more fucking work.
Oh, they
So
just want more in the
yeah,
3 months.
yeah,
Great.
exactly. Because they're planning earlier.
Yeah.
Um, so we've had a lot of inbound since RSA. Everyone wants something before Black Hat. Everyone wants to redesign or whatever, and the timeline's not terrible for what it's worth. Like, we can get it 13, 14 weeks
Hmm.
since the inbound started, and yeah, it's shortening every single day, but it's just like layers and layers of clients and projects, and we well, that's why we're hiring.
Yep.
uh so anyone listening to this, if your retention is minute 32 of this podcast, you should apply. Just tell us that you listen to this for 32 minutes. um
Yeah. Hit me up on LinkedIn or
mhm.
something. I'll drop the application link in the show notes. Actually, that's what
Oh,
I should do.
thanks.
I'll drop the application link in the show notes, and if
Perfect.
anyone's listening to this and wants to come work at Miscreants as a senior product designer, and
Not
uh,
even just a senior product designer. I mean, we're hiring like other Webflow developers. We're hiring other designers.
man, if
Like,
you only you had an ATS with like a careers page where all of these applications could
that
live
would
and like the
be
job
that would be
descriptions
that
and
would be so cool. There's not a good ATS that syncs with Webflow. So,
mm.
you know, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, most of the ATS systems out there, that's applicant tracking systems. Most of the ATSs out there,
ATI,
AT,
AT.
most of the ATSs out there just have like you know you can like point
Yeah,
a subdomain at it or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's been my life. A lot of sales calls. I think it like had like three in a row last Friday.
Damn.
Do we have one later today?
It was supposed to be earlier today, and he canceled. So I
Cool,
think,
cool.
my guess is he'll reschedule at some point.
Okay,
He's got
that's
my
fine.
link.
Nice. Yeah, we've got another one. Just sent out like 4 proposals today from
Hell
last
yeah.
week. It's good. I don't know. Success is a trap, I guess. It's yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah. Margins is moving.
Cool.
We had a meeting yesterday, figured we should actually like, use a project management board. So we're trying linear for this with the dev. Figure we should actually scope out now that we've had like the prototype and all that stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
we just scope everything else out.
I'm
That's
available to hire as a product manager whenever you want.
cool. Okay, we can chat. At least if you want to take a look at whatever, I haven't done any of it yet. Yeah, if you want to be tricked into a co-working session
Sure.
and
I
help
owe
me
you a
scope this
co-working
out.
session because you did that cold email co-working session with me that was basically like a free coaching session. So
Thanks.
um,
Thanks.
even though my emails outperformed all of yours.
I know. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. You just didn't let it run long enough. You should just spend more money. You
Yeah,
just
that's
didn't
it.
have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my fault.
Sure.
Yeah. Um.
So what's the latest? Like, you guys are putting some process behind margins. You're trying to like
hmm.
figure out what the next round of updates are going to look like.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out, like, right now we're at like phase 0. We're trying to figure out what phase 1 actually looks like. Write those things. Uh, and I don't know. Webflow sent out an email today telling people that certain things are being deprecated. We were obviously not on that list because we don't exist yet, but June 27th doesn't feel at all like a timeline we're going to hit.
That's tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's 5 weeks away.
Yeah. So that's kind of sad. But it's okay. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to like phase 1 by then. That's it, really. My entire life is Miscreants Agency, Sopranos, and a little bit of margins. Oh, I got a pool table. Did I tell you that?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
did.
I bought a
It's
pool
here
table.
though.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bought
Are
a
you a
pool
pool shark yet?
No, I'm so fucking bad. My cousin, who is like the intern at this law firm, is the one who hooked me up with one of the managing partners there, who's like, selling or getting rid of one of his houses or something. And he's like, "Do you want this pool table?" It's a nice pool table.
Sick.
Yeah. And he came over and like wrecked me 6-0. So now I owe him $6. Yeah.
It's probably a good amount to be betting, given your current skill level.
Yeah.
$1 per game.
$1 per game. Yeah. Um, yeah.
How do you get better at pool? I guess you just play pool.
No, there's like pool best practice. I took a whole semester of pool.
That's wild.
In college.
I mean, there's like
Which is
I know
fabulous.
there's like follow through and there's like
Mhm.
technique to holding the cue and
Mhm.
keeping your shot smooth and steady. And I know that there's also like there's technique like putting English on the ball to control the spin of the ball and all of that. But
Mhm.
I don't know like how you get better at seeing
So,
the angles and like getting the angles right other than just practicing.
well, yeah, I mean, there's drills and you practice the drills. I think like you have to. Okay, so like if I were to lay it out, or at least lay it out for myself, it's like there's like the best practices and then understanding like pool, like ball theory.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you hit a cue ball on the right or the bottom or the top of whatever, you make these types of shots. Then you practice these types of shots on these different types of drills, and the drills get harder and harder. Or you just watch this guy on TikTok who like throws the cue ball on the thing and then the 8 ball, and then he spins a bottle and he and the bottle tells him which hole to hit it in, and he just nails it every single time. And
That's fun.
you just try to do that and completely fail every
You
single time.
should sign up for a pool tournament in like 6 months
Uh-huh.
and to force yourself to get better at pool.
That's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna do that.
That's like
That-
that's what I would do. I would just
Mhm.
like sign up for some, find some way to like force myself to actually practice.
You
I've
and
been
I
thinking
could
a lot
do
lately about just like, you know,
a marathon. Are you,
no, like I am just realizing more and more that the only way to make myself do things
mhm.
is to have some amount of social pressure and like a deadline and yeah, just like social pressure slash accountability and a
Mhm.
deadline. And if I
You,
don't have those two things, it's like shit'll get done just like way, way, way more slowly.
you know that
And
needs of a
sometimes not get done at all.
so I've been reading Substack a lot, and my Substack has a lot of people talking about high agency and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And a lot of the people talk about high agency is like you're not supposed to need those things um, to be like high agency.
If
So,
that's true, I'm fucked.
like, I'm so fucked as well.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's bullshit though. I mean, that's like some like
Uh-huh.
that feels very much like productivity, like
Fair. Yeah.
productivity porn bullshit. I think
Mm,
everyone needs some amount of like in varying degrees, sure.
mm.
I also have diagnosed ADHD, and so
Right. Right.
yeah,
Um,
there's reasons that maybe I need more than uh more incentive or accountability than other people do in some areas. But I
sure.
think that like, I mean, Atomic Habits is not a perfect book, but like half of what Atomic Habits is about is like don't rely on this ironclad will and like incredible self-discipline. Just build systems that help make things easier for you.
Mhm.
And so I think, if you're high agency, maybe that looks like you don't need those things. Maybe it looks like you take the initiative to set up the systems to make sure to
True.
like account for the areas where you struggle.
Listen, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll make myself feel better with your words. Um, speaking of ADHD,
Yeah.
how's you hit me up today about wanting to do things faster or
Yeah,
more?
I feel like I've been in a season for a while now of like just I don't know if this is the scientifically accurate way to describe it, but I feel like
Mhm.
my ADHD comes in waves where, I'll have these bursts of time, usually where when I'm excited about a new project or something, where I'll be pretty focused and able to get stuff done, and I'll feel like I have good systems and I have good habits, and I'm I'm cranking, I'm moving, I'm making progress. And then I have these seasons or waves where I just feel like my head is spinning all the time, and it's just like it's so hard to get it to slow down enough to point it in a direction, and it's really hard to get over that like the empty page problem.
Mhm.
And I've just for a while now, I think I've been feeling stuck in that, and I'm getting stuff out. I got a couple of videos out this week. I've got a rough draft of a blog post sitting in Lex waiting to be edited. So I'm it's not like I'm not creating anything, but I'm just at the same time, part of me feels like for MetaMonster to be successful, I need to have a higher velocity. Like I
Mhm.
look at, you know, I listened to like Rob Walling's advice, and he's like half of being a successful founder is just like not getting stuck and like trying shit
Mhm.
really fast and being right, you know, slightly more than you're wrong.
Mhm.
Um, and I just don't feel like my velocity is all that high on things. And maybe it's a matter of perspective, but I've just been feeling like I'm personally moving slowly on things.
Yeah, I get that. I I think the amount of like s- like post velocity of people saying they've done the XYZ thing has also just increased. Um, with, I don't know. I don't know if it's your social feeds are like this, but like, somebody's launching something. Like there's more and more people launching things every single day and they're doing XYZ things. But yeah. I mean, that being said, it's not like they're necessarily doing the right thing, slash, you can say you launched the SaaS product um in 3 weeks with Lovable, but shit, it might suck, Um
Yeah. I feel like
or do you feel like you're doing the right work, even if it's not the right speed?
mm, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm in the messy middle of
Mhm.
like, pre-product market fit, and so it's really hard to say for sure if I'm doing the right work. I mean, um, yeah, I just feel like I should be trying more things than I am.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like I should be, you know, putting out more videos or more content. Um, cranking out pages on free tools and experimenting with pricing. And yeah, and maybe maybe it's just a matter of perspective. Maybe I'm
Mhm.
you know it, you can be chaotic, you can just kind of be constantly changing your mind, and you can change pricing too fast and um,
Yeah,
take
you
the
could
wrong
spend.
lessons away from things, sure, but i
Yeah.
just I can't shake the feeling that I'm like um, yeah, that I need to be trying more things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
When it How long has it been since you've been feeling this way?
I feel like probably 6 months or more.
Is that when you went full time on this? Has it been
No,
6 months? Has it been longer? I can't. It's all a
I
blur.
mean, it depends on your definition of full time. Like you know, Austin and I started working on MetaMonster in like
Mhm.
September of last year.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so that was 8 months ago.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's only been the last like month and a half that I haven't had any client work,
Mhm.
and that I've been you know sort of full time on it.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know.
Mhm. You need some social accountability. Of,
Possibly, yeah. So
Mhm.
like one of the things I've been thinking about. So I have like I've created these systems for myself where I have social accountability to show up and go to the gym. I pay for like a virtual personal trainer through Trainwell.
Oh, nice.
And so I go to the gym really consistently now. Um, I have just started I've been wanting to build a meditation and mindfulness practice for
Mhm.
years, and I've always struggled to do it. And I was talking to my therapist about it, and he was like, we decided that he would be my accountability partner. And so,
Nice.
I text him every time I meditate, and my goal is 4 times a week.
Mhm.
Um, and then each session when I show up, we'll talk about whether I hit my goal or not, and talk about like what I'm learning from meditation, and then go into our normal session. So I'm trying to build a system there, and so yeah, I've partially been thinking a little bit about like I can't really afford. I don't feel like I can afford you know a business coach, and to some degree my therapist is the best business coach I've ever had. Like I've
Mhm.
haven't had great success with coaches, but
Mhm.
I've been thinking a little bit about like, should I try to find like a writing group or something, some sort of like mass mastermind. I think is like kind of the wrong fit, because I want the focus to be on creation of some kind,
Mhm.
of like
Yeah.
creating videos, creating blog posts, creating tools, you
Mhm.
know um
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I get that. If it feels like me on the weekends for what it's worth. Um,
what do you mean?
or like once it hits like 5, 6 o'clock, um, or the weekends, like I'm definitely so. I think operate off of a very specific amount of accountability, which is
Mm-hmm.
like I've promised the client I would have something by a certain date, um, and they've paid me for it, and therefore in my brain it's like I have to do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, to a degree, to like, uh, uh, or at least that's always been like the most powerful amount of accountability because I have a meeting with this person in an hour, so I need to make sure it's going to be done in the morning so I can present about it and talk about it. uh, on the weekends I don't have meetings, and because I don't have meetings, like I have nothing to show for it. Or sorry, or like I end the weekend with like nothing to show for it because like even if I know I have to do something, or I know I want to work on something, or like same, I just spin out on and doom scroll or
Mm-hmm.
doom watch Sopranos all day. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, do you like one thing? So okay, two things. One thing that I've been using is a tool someone showed me called Lunatask, which is kind of interesting. You should check it out. It's like a to-do list, but also like it's like supposed to be built, I think, for people with ADHD, from
Hmm.
what my friend was telling me. Um, and it has like journaling and habit tracking and a bunch of these other things to it. And the friend of mine is like a big privacy nut, so it's all like end to end encrypted, which is cool. Um, uh, One thing I think I realized is like giving things like numbers are helpful. Like, hey, I'm going to make a Loom tutorial library for a client who just got like we just moved to Webflow, and then I don't do it for a while, and then now I can do it because I wrote myself like here's the five. I'm going to make 5 looms, so it's a little less vague. Um, Going back to your blog post thing, like you know, if you set up a system to say I'm going to get X number of posts out slash X number of videos done a day, or yeah,
Yeah, getting more specific with goals.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah,
Again, I feel like this is cool. This my first reaction was, I don't know if I need a new if a tool is going to solve this for me. There is
fair.
some interesting stuff in here that like I haven't seen other people do, like track how you feel. Um, you know, I've tried a bunch of habit trackers with mixed success over the years. Uh,
For what it's worth, I don't use the
Skeptical of the personal CRM bullshit. I just like I don't know if I believe in those. But like,
uh I use it for my one-on-ones with my team as a way to just track,
hmm,
because like I have to have, like I'm gonna have meetings with them,
mm-hmm,
but it doesn't help me like reach out to someone I haven't spoken to or something like that.
yeah,
um I liked it because it has an Eisenhower matrix for every single task,
hmm,
so you can just say like important, urgent, not urgent, stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's definitely some interesting tooling and stuff in here. I still feel though, like, yeah, like probably if I'm going to make progress on some of these things, it's gonna require some social pressure.
Mhm. All right, so promise the listeners
Yeah.
something.
Um. Yeah, that's fair. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah,
Um.
put it on wax.
I just right at this moment, I don't know what that would be. Um. I will get 2 more Loom videos recorded for MetaMonster and get my personal newsletter sent out by the next.
what are the two videos going to be about?
Just like I want to do, I want each one to be about testing a prompt in the like with the chat agent
Mhm.
um in the new chat UI.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I've got it. Yeah, that blog post that's been sitting around collecting dust on just like validation process.
Mm, nice.
So, because I just look at like I know that there are other ways to find success. It's not all about like content creation. But as a bootstrapped founder, it does feel a little bit like if you don't have an enterprise sales background or like a if you don't have an enterprise sales background or have like deep industry connections in a specific industry, then like being able to crank out content feels like a pretty valuable skill. Or
I
being
think
able to crank out anything, code, content, whatever. But just building up the muscle of like creating and publishing regularly.
I think so. I think yeah, I think so. Like, it has high leverage, and I think ultimately you need traffic onto the site. So,
Mm-hmm.
content is just one of the best ways to get there if you can be consistent about it.
And again, it can be content. It could be building an MCP server. It could be building,
Mm-hmm.
Going to networking events, whatever. But you've got to be publishing. You've got to be putting something
Mm-hmm.
out into the universe on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Okay. Newsletter, 2 videos.
Yep.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Let me know if you need help with it.
Sweet. We'll do. Yeah, we can co-work if you want.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Are we gonna co-work or are we gonna co-work?
Whatever you want.
Okay. All right. I'll let you know if I need some PRD help.
Okay.
With the planning stuff.
Cool.
I'd love for you to take a look at it anyway, because I feel like you always got something to say. In a good way.
Sometimes maybe I should shut up.
As long as you know. All right. Cool. I'll see you later.
All right. Peace, dude.
Peace.